Well, hello everyone, I hope you are well. I'm here on the allotment today and I thought I'd take you on a bit of a tour at the beginning of October to show you how things are looking at the moment. Now we're going to start, as always, at the very top of the allotment, and autumn is certainly starting to set in. I can see the reds and the browns from the leaves are starting to turn, which signifies the end of the growing season, but it is what it is, isn't it? We can't complain about that. But moving on down, the squash plants in this one, the hugel culture bed, they're doing quite well. You saw me harvest some of the patty pan squashes recently, and the butternut squashes are coming along as well. I've got to say, this hugel culture bed has done better for squashes as opposed to growing onions in them, so it's been a good bonus. Once these squashes are done, we're probably going to grow peas in these as well, so it's not the end of it just yet, but it's been a good experiment just to see what works well. This bed down here just got the cabbage still in there, which when we harvest that bed will, well, actually we're going to soon start planting out our onion sets into that, our autumn ones. Moving further down, now this bed here is currently empty. We've just cleared out all the onions and we're just clearing out all the weeds and the couch grass at the moment, so that we can then start sowing. Not sure if we can do broad beans or field beans in this one as of yet, but we're getting there slowly. That one we've got the garlic in that you saw a few weeks ago, so not much going on there. And then over the far end, actually, we had our sweet corn growing in there. And I've removed all the sweet corn and I've planted out some Swiss chard, just because I had loads of Swiss chard in plug plants at home, and I'm just filling them in. We're not a huge lover of Swiss chard, to be honest, so we're probably not going to eat all those. They're probably going to be more for chicken feed, if anything. But why not? It's an empty space at the moment. I'm just figuring on filling it up, and the bed isn't quite had enough compost added to it on a very hard soil here, very hard clay, very heavy clay. So I'm just hoping to try and loosen up the soil with the Swiss chard, and then next year when we get some compost, that can go in there and be used for that. But we have got snaking all the way down there is the shark's fin melon plant, and that is 5 meters long now. It's getting pretty long, to say the least. We've got a few shark fin melons, but one in particular I'm keeping my eye on to see when it is ready. I'm looking forward to trying out the shark's fin melon and see how we get on. Now we got 3 more beds just further down here. Right, so the final 3 beds on this side. So this bed here is going to be overwintering peas, beans, field beans. We've got broad beans sown at home, but there's going to be more coming up in the next few weeks. So they're probably going to go in here, to be honest. That way it'll get the beans working, and these 3 beds down this side are going to be beans and peas for next year. This bed here, we've got our Brussels sprouts, which are pretty much ready for harvesting, so we're going to start picking those quite soon, quite early this year, but I'm not complaining because we quite like Brussels sprouts and they can go in the freezer. We've got purple sprouted broccoli in there, but that won't be ready till beginning of next year. Then over the far end, we got another bed that I mulched with a load of wood chip, and we grew squashes in that. And the squashes are now done, so that bed is now becoming empty. I'm probably going to clear out all the wood chip, clear out all the compost, and then I might use that for shallots over winter. I'm still debating at the moment. Basically, everything in these beds I've got something growing, or will have something growing in them in the next couple of weeks. So everything is productive, certainly on this side. Let's head on down to the bottom half and I'll show you what's going on down there. So crossing into this bottom half, the rhubarb here is starting to die back, which I'm quite glad of. We've had plenty of rhubarb this year, and our freezer is full. I mean, every year we get loads of rhubarb, but once that dies back, we're going to give that a good mulch. Our asparagus is also starting to die back too. I've actually seen a couple of new prawns pop up over the last couple of weeks with the weather being so changeable, so that's quite interesting. But again, we're not going to harvest any of those this late. We'll want to cover those in mulch ready for next year. Greenhouse is still growing tomatoes, so we'll leave those, and eventually when they do die back, I'm waiting for a bit of a wet, rainy day, to be honest with you. I'm going to get in there and give that a good sort out. And the same with Uncle Tim's greenhouse. In this bed just down here, leeks, we've got plenty of leeks that are growing there. They've had a good handful of chicken manure pellets recently, so hopefully that's going to give them that good boost, and hopefully we're going to end up with plenty of leeks throughout the winter. I love leeks, so looking forward to trying these out throughout the winter months. The two beds over the far side there, actually, you may recall I planted out some green manures, Brassica. The green manures have just started to germinate and grow, so I haven't disturbed the soil while we're waiting for those to show themselves, and they should do pretty well. Brassica will grow quite big and shade everything out, as well as adding all that massive humus to the soil too. So they're in action. They're going to be for potato plants next year. And then we've got the squash, the pumpkin, that is pretty much ready, to be honest. Talking of pumpkins, we've got a couple, Charles and Camilla, just here as I call them. They're doing well. They're almost ready for harvesting. Looking forward to harvesting those, to say at the least. And then we've got one more bed just here. This was growing our second early potatoes, which I've harvested and cleared out, made sure there's no potatoes left. I've actually put in a couple of spring cabbages in there to get us through into the spring months. You know, we've got plenty of spring cabbages at home. We're just waiting to come down. We're planting them out at home, of course, as well, but they're here. They should give us plenty of cabbages into spring. And, you know, I'm looking forward to that because it's nice to get some early cabbages. Let's move down to the bottom. Now, in terms of beds, that just leaves these three final beds. This one's still got a couple of courgette plants which are still producing, so we're leaving those for the time being. But back here we had our borlotti and runner beans, all of which have came out, and I've just put the bean stalks over there to dry for the time being. Those hazel beans, fantastic. Definitely, you're going to use those a lot more in the future. This bed was our main crop. In fact, both of these beds are our main crop potatoes, and some of the foliage has started to die down, and the couch grasses came through, of course. So we're soon going to start harvesting all the potatoes out of here and get those into storage. Just waiting, we're still eating some of our second early potatoes, so I'm going to want to leave those in the ground for a little bit longer. It's not going to freeze here anytime soon, so leave those in the ground for a little bit longer, and then we'll start harvesting those, getting those ready to go into storage. But yeah, actually I should say, where I've taken out the borlotti beans, I've actually sown some field beans in there as a green manure again, just to help boost that up. That's going to be for first earlies next year, so a bit of nitrogen in there will just do it well and good. Now, what I want to do next, or over the next few weeks as well, is move this shed. And that's going to be one of the projects that we're going to be doing as we go into the winter months. I just want to move this shed farther back, which means I've got to level the ground out first, remove everything from this area, level the ground, redo the base, move this shed over, and it's going to free up this bit here where we can start doing things that I'm going to do a bit in the future, build new compost bins, moving some of the trees that I have here, and just start to open this space up. That's a plan anyway. So that will be happening over these winter months. I always think it's good to have a bit of a plan for the winter. A lot of infrastructure jobs are always good for the winter, and as going into autumn, winter, that's the time we're going to start doing those. Right guys, well that brings me to the end of this month's autumn October tour of the allotment. Let me know what you're doing in your allotments over the winter months in terms of infrastructure jobs, and I'll see you again next time.